Every week, players gather at their local game stores. They trade, and they battle valiantly for both fun and glory. But amidst their triumph, only two will make it to the finals to fight. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Final Fights tonight. Belo Betty versus Green Purple Luffy. Looks like Betty ended up going first, grabbing a Karasu off of the Belo Betty search. Now, Belo Betty typically likes to go second. Much more preferred for their curve, have a lot of good 4-drops, like Ivankov, Karasu in most of their mid-game bodies. Luffy electing to take second, takes them off that perfect curve, and gives Luffy a pretty solid curve. I think Green Purple Luffy, while a very new deck in the format, can do pretty well on either curve here, but pretty advantageous for them to take off the curve of Belo Betty. Picking up a Zoro off of the search. That's the new Zoro from EB02. A lot of new cards here from EB02. Pretty surprised to see this guy finish the deck. Got likely 3 to 4 of the secret Luffys. I jest because those are actually my secret Luffys. This is a friend of mine. I managed to get 4 secret Luffys on release weekend through a lot of bartering and trades. Yeah, he wanted to run Green Purple Luffy, so I let him borrow the secret Luffys to run, and he took it all the way to the finals, which is pretty awesome. So we're gonna see how he fares against Belo Betty. Belo Betty gonna swing a 5K, just gonna take that one. Green Purple Luffy not too afraid of taking life, from what I notice. Pretty casually. Just a deck that likes to take life because you know, their big hitters are going to eat up life anyways, so might as well just try to take as much as possible, right? They can rest on tons of 2Ks, being a 6K leader most of the game, as well as the Gum Giants, to try to be as defensive as possible with just cards from hand. But we're going to see here what Belo Betty's going to do. Maybe thinking of just going the 5K here because the Green Purple Luffy player took the hit, right? Didn't give a 1K counter. They don't really have a whole lot of plays. Looks like there's a 3-drop Karasu in hand, which is the blocker, so could put that into play potentially here. But other than that, could just swing 5K with the Belo Betty. Belo Betty thinking relatively hard. Once you take them off their preferred curve, it gets a little more awkward in these in-between turns, though. Now the turn after, if they do have the 5-drop Ivankov, is going to be pretty great for that deck, for the Belo Betty player here. But we're going to see what they end up deciding to do. Belo Betty deciding, thinking pretty hard. Looks like they've got a Koala in hand, the 5-drop Ivankov, a few 4-drops as well. So it looks like they're just going to lead right into the 5K. So 5K swing with the Belo Betty. Typically, Belo Betty doesn't like to commit too many swings of their bodies early, especially when your opponent has competing bodies on the other side of the field. That Nami's going to get a pretty free swing into that 2K Belo Betty on that side, which is pretty unfortunate. I know Belo Betty just likes to keep their Revolutionary Army cards in an active position until they're able to start using leader ability to start, pushing for maximum damage. But because they're on the odd curve, not a whole lot to do on that turn 3. Maybe would have liked to see a searcher, but gonna take this 5K swing off of the Luffy leader here, or almost deciding to grabbing the card, not looking at it yet. Maybe deciding that maybe the Karasu 1K or another 1K from hand is worthwhile. Looks like he has at least 3 copies of Karasu in hand. One of which is the blocker there that he's going to pitch up for the counter there, and then the other 2 that reduce power. Now, not necessarily as good in this matchup when Green Purple Luffy can take himself up to a 6K, and we're going to see one of the best cards, if not the best card in the Green Purple Luffy deck, and that's Sanji Pudding. Sanji Pudding just able to help recoup the losses of the Dawn -2 on the Luffy leader effect. And we're going to see the good old Ivankov 5-drop come down. Going to look at the top 3, going to play a, 6,000 power or less card? Or I think it's a 5,000 power or less card, I think is what it plays. It's going to put the, that one's the Lindbergh. Can, when attacking, if it has 7,000 power or more, can KO a 3K or less character. So combined with some cost or power reduction, could clean up the pudding on this next turn potentially, which could be pretty good. But I know I saw Raise Max go to the bottom. I don't think there was one in hand, so we'll see what ends up happening here. We're gonna see the Sanji Pudding come down, exactly what Green Purple Luffy wants to see here, and especially going second with leader ability. Sanji Pudding will allow Luffy to go back up to 4 Dawn here, to allow them to play maybe another Zoro Juro or that Rush Zoro that they had in their hand. So gonna -2 set up to get one back for Sanji Pudding. And then they could play down that Zoro they searched for earlier in the game. That Zoro doesn't. It has pseudo rush, right? So rush for characters, but it'll come down. It'll rest a character, and then if your opponent has 2 or more characters, he can also attack a rested character. So I think we're just gonna see just a straight up 5k swing, just a 1k check the Belo Betty before maybe we get a few 6k swings. Depends if Luffy decides to get aggressive here or try to answer the Belo Betty's board. So we'll see what ends up happening here. Could do just a quick 5k to check, and maybe commit 6k into the Lindbergh. We're gonna see a 5k into the Lindbergh here, and now Betty's resources are important to Betty, right? So the more cards in hand, the better. As you get later in the game and not gonna have as much to pitch to leader ability, which is pretty important, right? Gotta give 3k across the board to 3 characters. So likely seeing the writing on the wall that there's potentially going to be a 5k, 6k, and then another 6k coming off of going into the Lindbergh there. Just lets it go off the first hit. Also doesn't really have any 2ks in hand, so definitely not worthwhile to defend that one. So gonna take the other hit here and go down to 2 life. Did manage to pick up a trigger off one of them to KO the Nami, so just trying to incidentally clean up a little bit of the bodies that could potentially just be poking for 5k later in the game. Now I don't think Green Purple Luffy often has enough Dawn to be able to swing the Nami in, and we're gonna see a good old Koala come down. This Koala is gonna set the Belo Betty player down to 1 life, because it does draw from your life and then let you play out a 4-cost character. Gonna play that one out. When you play out a 4-cost character, you do get to draw a card, which is pretty nice. It is a blocker as well, 6k blocker, so pretty solid here. We're gonna see the Ivankov come down. Ivankov will let them play out potentially another card if they decide to give it buffs with leader ability, which is likely what's gonna happen here. We're gonna see a pitch of the 5-drop Ivankov. Gonna buff up a little bit of the team. If we do remember, the Kuma came off of life, so it is able to swing on this next turn here. And we've got at least 2 attackers right now, as well as the leader effect. And we're going to see an activation of Ivankov. It's going to put a Karasu into play. Karasu, where's that -1000 going to go? Could go at the Zoro to just help clear some bodies, but also could just go at lead to make your opponent's countering a little more awkward, right? That's a 9k swing on the Ivankov, a 5k swing on the Koala. I think he's got 1 Dawn up. So, setting your opponent's leader back down to 5k could be pretty good. And I think just counting up how much Dawn the Luffy has on his turn, and could likely just be some swings. But I think Belo Betty's definitely trying to weigh the odds of, do I go for board? Do I try to go for life here? Luffy is at 2, but once Luffy gets down low enough, you're gonna see 1 Dawn up most turns, threatening a Gum Giant, which just makes Luffy so strong in the late game, right? Just has so much potential counter here, but also just has a lot of early and mid game threats, and then just having rush secret Luffy is just really strong. I'm not sure where the -1000 counter went. I think it must have gone at lead here with the 1k counter. So we're gonna see a 6k, he's gonna get a 2k, and then we're gonna see a 9k. 9k is just going to take it. Looks like all 3 swings went to life. And I'm going to see maybe a trigger off the top. Thinking pretty hard. And not a lot of triggers in this deck. It might be the Mink card, right? I cannot. Electric Luna. Electric Luna has a trigger. I'm not sure there's many other cards in the deck that have a trigger other than like the 0 cost, and then if they run, Gamma Knife has a trigger as well. We're going to see what they end up deciding to do here. Belo Betty is at 1 life, does have a blocker though, and a few cards in hand. Looks like at least 3 2Ks and 2 1Ks. We're going to see a 1K counter out of a 5K. We're going to see 6K go a lead. There's kind of a point where you may decide just to let them take it, but we'll see what they end up doing. You can sit pretty nicely with a blocker here, just because Green Purple Luffy doesn't really have a way other than the Usohachi, but right now I don't think there are nearly enough Dawn for Usohachi to matter. That's a good question. I'm not sure how much Dawn is up. I think I see two Dawn cards in the face down pile, so I'm not sure. But we'll see what ends up happening here. A whole lot of swings. He's gonna get a 2K 1K. I'm surprised he didn't commit the blocker at this point. Looks like 6 Don. We're gonna see Rush Luffy come down, so we are at 7 Don. Gonna -2. Gonna stand 2 up. Gonna get 1 back. Is this a potential lethal turn we're going for right now, depending on what's happening here? Could swing 7k lead, 8k, 8k, right? Is something they could do. They could also go 6k, 9k, 9k. I think we're gonna go 7k here. Just require 2 cards a day. I think there's only 1 card in the hand at this point, so I think we're mathing out this pretty well here, unless something crazy comes off the top. Does not look like a trigger. Would have loved to see like a carousel blocker right now. We're gonna see an 8k go in here, and gonna set 2 up. Koala does have blocker. Could just block that. Looks like that's what they're gonna do, and then we're gonna see another 8k go. And if this is not double 2k, this game is over, and it is 2k 1k. So the 8k swing, double swing on Secret Luffy. Secret Luffy just able to swipe the game out from underneath. Good old Belo Betty, just having what, 5, technically 6 swings in 1 turn, with the Secret Luffy putting in the work. There's a reason that card's expensive, but definitely the good end game for the green purple Luffy deck, and is able to take this. So yeah, if you enjoy this type of content and want to see more EB02 action, definitely subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.